Out of all the projects I've worked on for the 2-ish years I've been coding, there's always been one thing I've never done, which is game development. But now that I finally graduated high school, I decided to take a shot at it. And by decided to, I mean my friend Transient Time got hired to be a dev for Kivoda's Battlegrounds and asked if I wanted to join as a diversity hire. Mind you, I still have no experience in game development, so... Wait, chicken, what is Kivoda's Battlegrounds? Good question to the one person who asked. Well, Kivoda's Battlegrounds is a 66 shooter on Roblox that uses Blue Archive chibi assets and have the students as characters for two main game modes mostly, King of the Hill and Capture the Point. They're the same thing except King of the Hill is only for 1 point. Think Overwatch, but you move slower and control chibi characters, which does present a few problems. Currently, the game has been going on a steep decline in players because of the lack of updates and balancing. I could talk about how it's imbalanced for a really long time, but I won't bore you with those details. As for updates, KBG has been the work of a solo dev named Place for a really long time. But as he's working on other projects, the updates have also declined, which is why he's decided to get a team of devs to work on the game instead. And that's where Time and I come in, along with 2 others. The best I can describe the team right now is 2 interns, 2 seasoned workers, and the CEO that visits the office like once a week. I say that, but Time's better at coding than I am, so I'm more of a diversity hire than an intern. No need to worry though, I think for now. I'll just examine the code a bit, maybe practice adding characters, do a few bug fixes, you know, the whole shebang. Okay, so the first bug I'm handling is Miyako's barrier being able to let the other team charge their ultimates by hitting it and letting Neru's ability have value by shooting it. This shouldn't take too long. Hi, it's Chicken in the future. It's been 3 hours. I have some form of depression that can only be solved through being hit by a high-speed vehicle. But I'm also done with the bug fix, so alright, so we can first divvy up which part of whose code we have to alter, and I'll let you guys decide. Is it A, Neru's code script, or B, Miyako's character script? Well, fuck you, you're wrong. It's neither. It's the module script, which is like how damage and healing and other combat logic is calculated. Specifically, I want to delve into this part of the code. What the fuck, chicken? This is for Ratio, not Neru, or Miyako, or the wall. Yeah, you're right, smartass. Good job. But what I want to focus on is the fact that this is a key to know how logic for any hit is located. This is where you can see what type of damage is done and what happens after you get hit. In Reisha's case, she gets a damage reduction if they are hitting her hitbox for her skill. So from here, we just need to check if the thing you hit is a wall, and then just use the no ult gain variable and set it to true. Finding the wall shouldn't be too hard. I hate my life. It took like an hour. Turns out, the script for Miyako's wall isn't really the wall per se, but it's for the drone that deploys the wall. The wall is literally just a mesh in the drone. But what's more important is that drone has a humanoid inside its object, so the way we can check for its HP and name is the same we can for any other character, it's just that its parent is named different. So we just need to check if the humanoid we hit has a parent named John. If it doesn't, it's a normal player. If it is, we just check the no ult charge variable to true, and also print for debugging, and also cause this took way too long to fix, and it's 4 AM, so give me a break. In terms of Neru's skill being able to charge with Miyako's wall, turns out Place already had code that said if Neru doesn't gain ult charge from her attack, don't charge her skill. So if that was in there, I don't know why Place didn't fix that bug in specific. Maybe he gave up halfway, I don't know. Future chicken here. So we also use the same logic for Serena, so she doesn't gain her passive charge for hitting Miyako's wall as well. Why wasn't this in module check just to check if the character is Serena? I don't know, man, but it works. As for Neru somehow jumping after landing her ult, I took inspiration from how Nonami can't jump while shooting and set an attribute to when she lands in her EX and then to set it to false after the EX. And when I talk about setting it back, I mean Time did that, not me. Okay, in my defense, it was working on my end, so I don't know what's going on with the actual servers. Anyways, now that we have a working bug fix, in about a week from now, ours should be up. In the meantime, I'm just gonna work on adding a character just for practice, which should be easy. It wasn't easy. I'd show you how to add them, but confidentiality and the video of me adding one character is like 3 hours long, so... Anyways, here's Ui. Forget the icon, that's a failed test. So after I designed a kit for her, I decided, yo chicken, show us her kit. Well, she can't even heal right now. So, what do you want me to do? So how do I fix this? Well, I guess we can do it together. Yeah, that's what I get for copying Azusa instead of Koharu for Ui's base. Yeah. I also fixed up the sub-combat script so that it uses wait for child instead of required to not break itself if a character doesn't work, because I spent 4 hours trying to find out why there were no error messages, yet sub-combat wasn't proccing, only to realize that I wasn't the problem, it was fucking Hikari! Well, that's what I left on before I went to Korea. And by that, I mean, I'm in Korea. Yeah, I'm developing KBG on a Mac now, so anyways, now that I can heal with Ui, let me describe her kit. It's probably not gonna be final, but it should suffice. Her common skill will be a slight heal to her ally for 50 HP, which is really small until you consider that you also give that teammate a universal lifesteal for a few seconds. Her sub skill will be sort of like Serina's common skill in that it's an AoE buff that needs stacks, but Ui's is different in that it's by damage, not shots hit. Her ult will also leave a set of props from her summer variant that I beautifully modeled in Blender. It'll provide a few buffs such as an attack buff of 25%, but since our ult in the game is regarded to ult charge, the damage buff is 25, but the ult you gain will be as if you had a 40% extra damage charge, since the ult you gain is mostly based off of attack. So she's a much more aggressive and risky support, which is why I don't think she'd have much synergy with Kayoko, who's also based off of Leech, and if we tweak a few numbers here and there, I think we can get her to fit with the cast while still being pretty strong. Okay, so for her first skill, which is with her Leech, we first need to keep in mind that there's already a character with Leech in the game, which is Kayoko. Kayoko's Leech works differently from what I want Ui's to be, which is that hers is a debuff, where shooting the person with the debuff gets healing. However, Place actually did a really intuitive application in how buffs and debuffs work, especially for Kayoko's Leech, so copy-paste the Kayoko code, classify it as a buff, change the variable so that in module script, instead of checking if the hit person has a debuff, it checks if the attacker has a buff. Then, we just put the function creating that buff at the end of Ui's common skill function. Change the UI element to be her skill icon, change the colors, and that's about it. You can see how little faith I had in this working first try with my print statements. And anyways, I say that it was pretty simple, but that took 2 hours, which isn't a lot, all things considered. As for a sub-skill, we need to divide it into 2 different parts. How we get stacks, how we can buff attack, and technically since it scales off damage dealt, we need a logic for that too, but that requires some UI stuff. And that one is one of the other dev specialties, so luckily since we don't have animation stages, we can get straight into the buffs given. I just copied the code for Hikari's zone, took out all the checks and model checks, and was left with this. I just placed a few variable names from that, and yeah, coding's not that hard if someone already did all the work. I don't really want to explain her EX, but it works, so anyways, Ui isn't even gonna come out anytime soon because the testers are pussies and think that we can't add her because she's already in Project Archive. What is Project Archive, you might ask? Well, Project Archive is a competitor to KBG. Well, I wouldn't really say competitor because it's a private game, but it was made because the community in KBG split up after there were a couple clashes and no updates at all pretty much. Gameplay wise, there is a clear difference between Project Archive and KBG in gunplay, in abilities, and also the fact that they get more frequent updates and more characters. They also have more devs. In my opinion, that shit's low-key boring, so we're just gonna go into another fix that I was gonna talk about, which is Hoshino's rework. Or pre-work, because we're just changing her back. Damn, she was that much of a problem, Jesus Christ. Anyways, so one of the main changes, apart from just adding the assets back in, is that we're going to be reworking her EX so that she shoots each bullet individually. I don't know what the testers were thinking when they decided to talk about this change, but they definitely weren't thinking about the well-being of the devs, because this shit actually ruined my mental health. I am genuinely suicidal. Okay, so before anything, how Hoshino's old EX worked was that she shot all her bullets in one animation, in one succession. So what does that mean? You only need one animation in order to do her EX. But now, you need a way for her EX to start, an idle for her EX, because we need that too, a shooting animation for her EX, because yep, we need that as well, and then when the EX ends. So we need 4 new animations, which we can splice off of one. So that wasn't too hard, I just spliced it myself. I didn't record it because I was genuinely crying. Now that we did that, we have to find a way to handle every single thing. So here we can see that there's a function called fire 1 round. That's for firing a shot in your ult. And we have EX fire, which, okay, I didn't want to rename function names, but this should have been just like EX skill or something. Bite me, I guess. I don't know. But you're not my boss. Unless Place is watching, then I'm sorry, boss. Alright, so everything is pretty much in order here. We also have a function inside the function called AndEx, which guess what that does? And we also have a timer here for the EX to end. So pretty much it's all in order. This listens for clicks, yeah, yada yada. Code is boring when you try and explain it to people who only came here for Kivo's Battlegrounds, I think. There's also a few reworks that really need to be played, such as Yuka, who is notoriously one of the weakest tanks in the game. We need to rework her. There's also a problem with a character called Rabu, which I really hate because movement speed is so slow or her AoEs always hit. If you're a Rabu player, you are stupid, and I hate you forever, and I think that you should kill yourself. Anyways, I'm probably gonna be busy with this project, but I'll try to not let this disrupt my upload schedule for the summer. So 2,000 likes for Ui, okay, goodbye. Alright, so I'm in the middle of editing the video, but I also got tasked with reverting Hoshino back to her original state before the battle rework. One of the testers did kinda get mad at me because I kept on procrastinating, which is fair, but at the start of it was because I kept on saying, yo, I don't think porting her over from a publicly known old game is gonna work because I don't know, I just have a feeling. And then he was like, no, this is the version, I told you a million times. Well, the permissions were set wrong, so basically, I literally couldn't do anything with those mesh files. So fuck you, the joke's on you, I had to get it replaced myself. To be fair though, I did procrastinate on it, my bad. I have a video to edit. Oh yeah, I also got scared, but... Hey, thanks for watching the video. I know it's been a while since I uploaded, but this video is sponsored by me. Yeah, I don't get sponsors because I make Blue Archive videos. I do have a Ko-Fi you can donate to, and I'm working on adding more perks for Ko-Fi donators, such as early access for projects that I can give early access to. For my next video, for example, I'm thinking of letting Ko-Fi supporters at a certain tier test out the thingamajiggy first before my main Discord server. By the time this comes out, probably Anime Expo would have started. Sorry, I'm not going because I'm in Korea. Anyways, that's about it. I want to stop recording as soon as possible because my fan is off and I live in Gwangju right now. And it's really fucking hot, so goodbye.